I just finished building the Lego Fantastic Four vs. Galactus construction figure that consists of 427 pieces, comes with the Fantastic Four minifigures, and of course is based on the new Fantastic Four movie. This set retails for 80 Canadian dollars or 60 US dollars. Have you seen the new Fantastic Four movie? I have, and I thought it was fantastic. However, I do not think that this is a fantastic representation of Galactus found within that movie. It's like completely different. However, this one more so represents the Galactus found within the comic books and also the Fantastic Four animated TV show. First off, this character right here is the completely wrong color to represent the Galactus found within the movie, and it's also not nearly large enough. So they've actually given us larger construction figures and mechs and dragons in the Ninjago theme. So why can't they do that in the Marvel theme? Having a giant Galactus would actually be super cool. It would be cool to have like a massive one that actually represents the size of the Galactus found within the movie. That would be super cool, but this thing is larger than your average construction figure. You can see it beside Ant-Man and Iron Man and Rocket Raccoon there. So it is taller than those ones, bigger than those ones, which is good. But in general, it could be a lot larger and could be a different color because it's supposed to be from the movie. I think it's cool that we get 4 exclusive minifigures in this set. At this point, they're exclusive. Are they going to be issuing them in a different set? Hopefully we get more Fantastic Four sets. That would be cool. But we've got Johnny Storm, or the Human Torch right there. Also, Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. And down here we have Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. And down here we have Ben Grimm, The Thing. Yeah, cool that we got exclusive minifigures, but they could be done way better. They should 100,000% have dual molded arms and dual molded legs. If not dual molded arms, then at least dual molded legs. We all know this at this point. And the Thing is way bigger than it is depicted in this set. Like, Ben should 100% be a big fig, especially when you consider the price of this set. Maybe this was the right call for the Thing, but I still think a big fig would be cool to have of the Thing. Like, we got this guy in big fig form. Why can't we get the Thing in big fig form, you know? That would be so cool. But when you look at source material, a lot of the time he's not much larger than standard humans. And the other 3, but sometimes he's much larger. So I don't know. I mean, it's sort of like a gray area there. And hey, by the way, throughout this video, I just realized that his head wasn't pushed on all the way. I'm sorry about that. I did fix it at the end of the video or after I was done recording. But there's his alternate face and a closer look at his hand and head decorations. In regards to print pieces, the head on Galactus, or the face, is printed. Everything else that you see is a sticker element. So like his skirt, I guess I'm gonna call it right here, is all sticker. These large pieces on the bottom, or on the side, sorry, actually use 3 different large sticker elements. And then the circular element on his chest is a sticker as well. Maybe these ones down here, I'm okay if those are stickers, but this one should at least be a print piece, because you can see I centered my sticker, but it's not perfect, which sort of bothers me. I was scared to peel it off because it's like almost perfect, but if I peel it off and try again, it might be worse. And at that point, I don't try and reapply my stickers. But yeah, we've got like the skirt elements, which of course can hinge because they're just held in place by like the bar pieces. So we can hinge these outward like so. And then it's just like a basic construction figure, mech style figure with like the large ball joints and different points of articulation on the arms, hands, head, feet, legs, all that. But the main thing I want to do in this video here today is place it in the Lego City. So obviously I want to try and place this on Pop Culture Street. Ideally, I would like to make like a big scene around him where he's like crashing into a building or something and the building is like exploding. Maybe like change up the facade on the Bugle or something because the Green Goblin used to come bursting out of there. That would involve changing one of my buildings in a big way. So I don't know what we're gonna do at this point. Yeah, something to think about. This guy, I've noticed while trying to place him that for some reason posing him isn't like as easy as you would think because he's got a lot of weight up there. So you can't really make it look like he's stepping without him like falling over. So getting him in a fixed position is more difficult than you would think, especially if you want him balanced. So getting him in like a fixed position where he doesn't move around is proving to be a little bit challenging. I don't want to continue going on about the minifigures, but I'm going to anyway because I think this is a huge fail. This minifigure right here, Mr. Fantastic. So we have his legs, which by the way have white boots on. You notice that? Not dual molded legs though. Maybe that's why they didn't give him dual molded legs, because they just for that reason, because they wanted the stretch form to have the white on the bottom. So if he had dual molded legs on this particular layout, he would look sort of strange. But either way, I think he could have came out with arms like this. You know, he's stretchy, and we got this one-piece minifigure shortly after we got that one. So all they had to do is recolor these in that same blue, and we could have had stretchy arms like this for Mr. Fantastic. I think that's a fail. That would have been cool. Maybe would have made it worth, you know, closer to the price that we're paying. Also, with the Invisible Woman, you see how those are just like clear? I get maybe she's doing the invisibility thing, so it's clear. But I think more so when you see her doing that, it's like projecting. It's more so like a force field that she's projecting. And that force field is more so a color like this. I don't know if you can see that color, right? It's a nice color, right? So if we would have got these dish elements in that color, I feel like it would have been a better representation of the force field. Am I nitpicking at that point? I don't think so. I don't think it's a lot to ask for. I truly don't. To pose this guy in an actual walking stance though, I've decided to use one of these. It's a 2x2 modified plate with the upright pin, because you can see there's actually some pins on the bottom of his leg, or on the feet, sorry. So if I simply replace one of the studs on the sidewalk with that, I don't have light gray ones, otherwise I would use one, and then fix him down, it's going to give me a point of attachment. So now, just maybe, I can put him in a walking pose without him toppling over, or just being imbalanced to the point where it's annoying. But then when you try to lift his leg up, this element falls off because it collides with the connector. So you can't even put him in a true knee-up walking position. So not ideal. The more I play around with the set, the more disappointed I become, unfortunately. But we can put him with a light step. I grabbed a bunch of trans clear bricks here because we're gonna have to try and fix it somehow. There we go. So now it sort of looks like he's stepping, but overall hard to pose. I do like the fact that we can pose our minifigures on here because there's studs, and also studs in his hands. Where did I put Mr. Fantastic? How did I lose him? He's not the Invisible Woman. Where did he go? Oh, he's right there. He's hiding behind the ice cream car or truck. I do like how there's jumpers in the hands, so we can actually put him in there like that. But if he had these like rubber arms, you could almost make it look like he's being stretched or something, right? If you had that ability, it would be super cool to do. That would be pretty neat. And we do have some jumpers on the back here, or on the side of the arms here, so we can pose the Invisible Woman like that. And then on the back side here, where we have Johnny Thunder, there's actually a connection point, so we can make it look like he's flying around. And this can be rotated. It's an axle, so you can put it like 90 degrees, but you can see how unstable he is when you put him in an actual pose. We could, of course, have him like reaching out and maybe holding on to the Sanctum Sanctorum or something if we wanted to try and get it a little more stable, but not really. So yeah, requires some assistance to put in an action pose, but that's it. There we go. He's sort of placed in the Lego City by the Sanctum Sanctorum. He's about to wreak havoc here, and maybe we'll see him in a more havoc position in the future. We can turn his head to, his whole body will rotate and his head can rotate. So like he rotates at the torso there. So he's sort of looking down at Mr. Fantastic maybe. There we go. And yeah, once again, they could have made it larger. We've seen larger characters in the Ninjago theme. So why can't they treat Marvel the same and give us like a breathtaking, huge Galactus? I guess, of course, it is like a price point thing, but they could have done it, you know, like they could have done it, which would have been super cool. But there we go. That is Galactus from the Fantastic Four, placed and reviewed here in the city. Not bad. Placed in the city and reviewed. That's what I meant to say there. All right. Very well. Have a great day. Bye for now.